RHOC, Alexis Bellino slaps Shannon Beador with the truth. RHOC star Shannon Storms Beador was slapped with the truth by Alexis Bellino, who returned to the series after exiting in Season 8. The two never filmed together before and were not friends prior to Season 18 starting. Yet they had a lot of issues to work through, and they all were linked to one person. Keep reading for more details. RHOC Alexis Bellino slaps Shannon Beador with the truth. Alexis Bellino exited RHOC after Season 8 and went on with her life. The mother of 3 divorced her husband, Jim Bellino. He ultimately sued Tamra Judge and Shannon Storms Beador, which cost the ladies a lot of money. Alexis maintained she had nothing to do with it as they were already divorced and wanted that left in the past. She moved on and got engaged to someone new. More so, she and Tamra, who had a rough history, reconciled at BravoCon 2023. At the same time, her engagement fell apart. Therefore, she started to date Shannon's ex-boyfriend, John Jansen. This has not been easy for Shannon, who was arrested for a hit-and-run DUI in September 2023. More so, she is no longer friends with Tamra and feels very alone. Now Season 18 has begun, and with Alexis dating John, it seemed like the perfect time to bring her back to the RHOC. The two were bound to run into each other, and since Heather Dubrow was having an all-inclusive party, she invited Shannon and Alexis. Shannon decided to ask Alexis to come outside for a chat. She wanted to let Alexis Bellino know that they would never be best friends, which was fine. Shannon Beador then led into the Bellino lawsuit, which Alexis claimed she was not even a part of. She tried to speak but was consistently interrupted no matter what she tried to say. Finally, Alexis reminded her that she had John Jansen and Shannon did not, according to People. She also wanted it known she was innocent in the whole court situation. Shannon tried to claim she wanted her $300,000 back, and John was there through the whole lawsuit drama, but Alexis clapped back. The girls were all listening and watching. As Alexis Bellino slapped Shannon Beador with the truth or hers, at least the RHOC ladies were inside Heather's party. They were staring outside of the window trying to read what the women were saying so they could know if it was going good or bad. It was clearly not going well at all, and Alexis is determined to let everyone know that John Jansen is a good guy. He is her man. He has been misunderstood all of this time, and no one should believe what Shannon has to say. The lush coastline of Orange County sparkled beneath the setting sun, casting a golden hue over the vast Pacific Ocean. The final touches were being placed on the extravagant dinner party at one of the most luxurious beach houses in the area. But inside, a storm was brewing, and it was not the kind of storm one could see in the sky. As the evening wore on, the guests mingled, sipped champagne, and laughed, unaware of the drama unfolding in a secluded corner of the home. Alexis Bellino, always a radiant figure in the RHOC spotlight, stood firm, her arms crossed with a determined look on her face. Across from her, Shannon Beador sat, nervously sipping on her wine, her hands shaking slightly as she tried to mask the tension. There had always been an undercurrent of animosity between them, but tonight it would come to a head. Alexis was tired of playing nice. She had had enough of Shannon's constant manipulations and passive-aggressive behavior, and she wasn't going to sit back and let Shannon continue to drag her name through the mud. "Shannon, we need to talk," Alexis said, her voice calm but heavy with the weight of what was to come. Shannon's eyes widened, her lips pursing as she prepared for what was next. "Oh, Alexis, not tonight," Shannon replied, attempting to brush her off. "Let's just enjoy the evening. We don't need to revisit old drama." Alexis's piercing blue eyes never wavered as she took a step closer, her posture straighter than ever. "No, Shannon," she said, her tone shifting to something much sharper. "It's time for you to hear the truth." Shannon shifted uncomfortably in her seat, trying to maintain composure, but Alexis could see right through the facade. She knew that Shannon's calm demeanor was just a thin veil over her insecurity and fear of being exposed. "You spent so much time pretending to be this perfect image of a housewife," Alexis continued, her voice rising with conviction. "But we both know the truth. Your life isn't as picture perfect as you want everyone to believe. You've done everything you can to paint yourself as the victim. But the truth is, you've been manipulative, deceitful, and downright cruel to the people who actually care about you. Shannon's cheeks flushed as she opened her mouth to protest, but Alexis didn't give her a chance to interrupt. You think I don't see it, but I do. I see how you constantly twist things to make yourself look better, how you play the "I'm always the one who suffers" card, but it's all a lie. A hush fell over the room as the other housewives, sensing the tension between the two women, began to subtly eavesdrop from across the room. The energy was thick with anticipation. No one knew how Shannon would react to the unexpected confrontation. "You've hurt people, Shannon," Alexis went on, her words like daggers, "and you've hurt me too. You've made false accusations, spread rumors, and acted like you're above everyone else. But the truth is, you're not above anything. You're just a woman trying to hold on to a fractured image." Shannon's eyes darkened, the color draining from her face. For a moment, she seemed taken aback, her usual bravado faltering. "You don't know what you're talking about," she whispered, her voice shaking with a mix of anger and disbelief. "Actually, I do," Alexis shot back, her voice unwavering. "I've been there. I've watched you tear down your friendships one by one, all for the sake of control. You've built walls around yourself, Shannon, because you're scared. Scared of facing the truth. And I'm not going to let you hide behind those walls anymore." The other housewives were now watching with bated breath, none of them daring to interrupt the heated exchange. It was as if the years of pent-up frustration between Alexis and Shannon were finally coming to a head. "You've made it your mission to tear everyone down who doesn't fit into your perfect little world," Alexis said, her voice trembling with both anger and a touch of sadness. "But the truth is, you can't keep running from your own insecurities. You need to face them, Shannon. It's time to stop playing the victim. It's time to stop pretending that everyone else is the problem when, deep down, you know the truth. You are the one who needs to change." The silence in the room was deafening as Shannon struggled to find her voice. For the first time, she didn't have an immediate comeback. She looked down at her wine glass, her fingers gripping it tightly as her mind raced to process what Alexis had just laid bare. Finally, Shannon's voice broke through the silence, weak and trembling. "I never asked for any of this," she said, her eyes welling up with tears. "You don't know what it's like to live with all this pressure, all these expectations." Alexis softened, but only slightly. "I know what it's like to be under pressure, Shannon," she said, her voice quieter now, yet still laced with truth. "But we all have to face our demons eventually. Hiding behind your tears and your anger won't help you in the end. It's time to own up to your actions and stop playing the martyr." Shannon took a shaky breath, her face crumpling with emotion as Alexis's words hit home. For a moment, it seemed as though she might collapse under the weight of the truth. She stood up, her body trembling, and without saying a word, she walked out of the room, leaving the others in stunned silence. Alexis stood there for a moment, her chest heaving with the intensity of the confrontation. She didn't feel victorious, nor did she feel relief. What she felt was something much more complicated, a sense of finality. She had said what needed to be said, and whether Shannon would ever accept it was up to her. But one thing was certain. Alexis had slapped Shannon Beador with the truth, and the truth, as always, was a force that could not be ignored. As the sound of Shannon's retreating footsteps faded, Alexis stood tall, her gaze unwavering as she faced the others. The storm had passed, but the ripple effects of that night would reverberate through Orange County for months to come. And for Alexis Bellino, the truth had never felt so powerful.